So, it's been 1 week since I've come to Singapore. What have I done? So, first day I left Toronto on the 9th, and I had a flight from Toronto to San Francisco. San Francisco, I had a break for 3 hours, and then after my break from San Francisco, I had a 17-hour flight to Singapore. Once I got to Singapore, I was overwhelmed. Getting off the plane, I had a really rough flight from San Francisco because I was in a middle seat and it was 17 hours and I was dehydrated, and so I then went to get my Wi-Fi access because at that point I didn't have a Singaporean SIM card. I got Wi-Fi access and started messaging all my friends and family back home, and then I went to grab my luggages and go through immigration. Immigration was quite simple. It only took about half an hour, but I had all my documents ready. So I am here on an exchange, and so I only needed to present my IPA letter and my passport in order to enter the country because I'm a Canadian citizen. I went to go grab my luggages and then called a grab to my hotel in Geylang. From Geylang, I dropped off my luggages and went around the area for a little bit to eat. But at that point, I was really upset because I had never been away from home for so long by myself in a different country, more or less in Southeast Asia for the first time by myself. So I got a plate of rice and I started crying into it. I was so overwhelmed with the entire process. From then on, I went to go grab my SIM from a 7-Eleven, and then I went back to my hotel and finally checked in. I pretty much spent the rest of the day just in my hotel room. I ended up just taking a day to relax for myself because I knew if I was going to strain myself any more than this, I would probably cry a bunch more. Day 2 was a lot better. I left the hotel and then I finally moved into here. Actually, here's my little dorm review. I've lived in it for a week now. It's really messy. And then here is my bed and my really really messy desk. Oh my goodness. The blinds are closed right now, obviously, because it's nighttime. Actually, you wouldn't know that. It's nighttime right now that I'm filming. I moved in and I finally found the other U of T kids. We ended up going to a nearby mall. It's called Clementi Mall. Went to get food, and also I bought a bunch of stuff that I would need in the future. So I bought a bunch of Tupperware. I finally got myself a reusable straw. I bought food, and then we came back here, put it back into the fridge, and then I settled in for the night. Day 3 in Singapore. It was our orientation day for URAPS, and so since we have such a large group of UT students, we ended up meeting up downstairs in the meeting room, and then we got lost together trying to find LT27 and then trying to find S16, the science building, so that we could finally join the orientation group. So actually, NUS is so large that there's a shuttle bus system that is free for NUS students or the general public to use. So we actually ended up taking the wrong bus to the wrong place and then being half an hour late to our orientation. Orientation was very fun. We actually took a tour around the school. We had a student mentor leader take us around, and he explained all of our faculties and buildings to us. I had an appointment to finish my student visa at ICA, but I messed up. I messed up because I was supposed to actually get my stamped letter, my stamped IPA letter that I had gotten that morning from orientation, but I accidentally brought my soft copy printed out letter without the stamp. And so I ended up going to ICA and it didn't work out. They had to send me home. So since I couldn't finish my student visa, I met up with the other kids once they did finish their student visas, and we ended up going to IKEA afterwards. On day 4, I actually got my student visa because I brought my stamped letter. And then I started work after that. I met my professor, and then he took me over to my lab. He made sure that I was very happy and safe and knew where I was going for the rest of my 3 months. Introduced me to a bunch of people, but I had such bad jet lag that I ended up having to leave early for the day. So I ended the day at 5 o'clock, and then that's when we ended up going to, I think we went to Chinatown? I think we went to Chinatown. Okay, I lied. We actually didn't go to Chinatown. We ended up going to Jurong East to a mall called JCube, and then we had some food there and then came back home. So since my memory is so bad, we ended up going to Chinatown
just the next day from what I thought that we had gone to Chinatown.
After deciding we would go to Chinatown, we ended up deciding we would try the Michelin star chicken rice. That didn't work out because we ended up late. We ended up late to the place, so I could only take a picture of it. But we passed by the temple before we went to the Maxwell Hawker Center and getting some other chicken rice.
So after Chinatown, we made a quick impromptu visit to another mall because we ended up needing more supplies. And so here's another clip of us visiting another mall. Again, my memory is not that great. I also forgot this entire day where I actually went to work for the first time. So after Chinatown, I ended up going to work the next day, and this is my first day at work. After my day of work, I ended up for the first time going to the Fairprice to pick up some groceries. I bought a couple of vegetables and some fruits, and it was very light and easy for me to carry back.
I ended up contacting my postdoc, who I would be sitting next to, asking if I could spend the day doing my readings, my assigned readings in U-Town. She agreed and she let me go, and so we planned to do our readings in Starbucks in the U-Town, and then because we had time left over, we ended up swimming in the infinity pool above the Stephen Riady Center at U-Town. Rested for the rest of the night yesterday, and then yeah, that's pretty much my first week here in Singapore.